Okay, start record ah. Okay. So hi everybody. Repeat balik. So hi everybody. I'm Kok Hin. This is Karnan, and we're gonna talk about the Indian history part. So first before we start, tell some interesting thing that you know about Indian, like Indian atau Indian history ataupun what you like about Indian. Unfortunately, Shima is not here. If not, he can confess in Munish once again. So anything, just shout out. Anything.
I like their desserts.
Desserts?
Indian desserts.
Oh, for example, what?
I don't know their name, but I just like it.
I guess if what is that? Muruku, that one. Yeah, that one. Huh?
Ladu.
Nobody here looks what are we without the Indians? Mama, tak ada mama. I cannot imagine I'm Malaysia without mama. So, okay, that's very interesting. So, okay, next. So today we're gonna talk about three things. Okay, very quickly, 20 minutes. So, I have time. So, very quickly, because okay, I have to acknowledge first of all, I am no expert on Indian parts. Okay, I am a little bit more knowledgeable about the Chinese than the Indian. Although it doesn't entail that I am knowledgeable in Chinese. It's just that the percentage of knowledge. So, okay, so today let's talk about three things: early development and the boom. Okay, maksudnya like how different theories are how the Indian first came here, and the boom means okay, you guys know like the so-called immigrants, like we come in small batches, and then tiba-tiba you got a boom, like tiba-tiba banyak orang kan. Okay, second we're gonna talk about the tribes. I don't know how to call it. Like in Chinese we call it clans. How do you call it in Indian?
The thing in India, it's actually considered different races.
Oh, okay.
That's the thing about Indian history in Malaysia. As a group, Malaysian Indians are very divisive because of the pattern from India, where different groups with different languages, which was the dividing line, were considered different races.
Okay. So we'll go into that during the second point, and then I'll talk about demographic and political orientation of the Indians. And then originally I planned to give the Karnan the remaining time. I put Karnan the boss. You guys know the play on this thing, right? Shivaji the boss. It's a very famous. Okay, so but we are presenting together for now. Okay, firstly, early development. So, according to written sources of history, Indian has already been quite widely spotted in Malaya ataupun Tanah Melayu in the 1st century AD itself, because of the proximity I guess you call this India, Chinese, China, and then the Arabian Peninsula. So you got all these. I'm sure you all know sejarah, right? So permulaan dan sebagainya. So we don't have to go into detail for that. And then by 7th century, basically, we have already widespread Indian influence. So you have all these trades going on, and people start learning things from each other, which is very interesting. Like according to Farish Noah, he's a historian in Malaysia, but currently in Singapore. It's very interesting. He said that people in the past, they are actually more globalized than we are. It's not a globalization. It's something new that we moderns claim to have. But people in the past already, they have this globalization going on, well into the past. And by 7th century, you can see that from I think there's about 6th century there. My math is really bad. So by that time, the interaction, they actually form they have huge impact on local cultures. I'm sure they intermarried, and by the time no Chinese yet to catch them if they convert. So and I forgot exactly which century, but even if I'm not mistaken, the word Raja and also the how you call it, the mythification, if you like, of the Rajas actually come from Indian influence. Because last time I say, okay, this is very rough, simplified notion. Okay, let's say like in the past you have this Raja, so to speak. But Indian influence bring it that they actually like so-called dignify or deify basically to increase the status of the Raja to become something like Maharaja. So he's he has like quickly said, they had instilled a lot of myth that the Raja can do a lot of things, and basically you have all these influences from India. And
if I can add to that, like as I said, these elements came from India because even till today it is still present in the Indian languages. The term Raja and Maharaja are exact same meaning from the Indian language, and the spread of the Indian culture.
Just a quick one. What do you mean by Raja?
King.
King.
King, direct translation king. So the spread of the Indian influence, right, was because like we know from our history lessons that pre-Islamic Malaysia, Southeast Asia had a lot of Indian influence and Hindu this one. Because before the Westerners did it, the Indian kingdoms, which were very strong back then, did their own expansion, imperialism, and you had kings coming to these areas to expand their kingdom. So that is how most of the influence came through. Like the name of the king slips me, but there was this one king from the Cholan Empire. No, Asoka is not Cholan. Who took Siam and even like parts of Java and all that. Chandragupta Maurya. No, Mauryas were northern kings. He was a Cholan Empire king. So that's how the migration of the culture came here.
Okay, I mean, going on quickly on that, actually, like, when Indian empires conquer other places, they also bring their people with them. And one of the things also, when the Raja in Malaya that they accept Indian influence, at the same time they also accept like so-called Indian advisors. So you got the Brahmi, yeah. So they actually brought these people along with them. Okay, in the early parts, the early centuries, the Indian and actually the Chinese also, and the Arab also. Yeah, we usually forgot to include the Arabian category in our discourse. Like, Arabs, Chinese, and Indian, they're usually traders around this area. And in the beginning, they did not settle down. And okay, there might be some small settlements, like in the Chinese part, I know we call it Bapa Nyonya. But the really proper so-called settlement is actually starting from the 15th, 16th century. And you can keep on telling what happened. Do you remember 1786? What happened?
British occupation.
British, right?
Oh, British is 1894. Sorry.
So what happened in 1786? That these are so-called important years.
Dutch occupation. Dutch occupation.
Dutch occupation. No.
Francis
Oh, okay.
Francis Lai.
Yeah, Penang people, if you show So in 1786 is when British stamp their marks, take Penang and all that. So that is actually really the beginning of so-called mass immigration. Of course, they didn't like 1786. They just arrived and then Francis said, okay, I want 1 million Chinese, 1 million Indian. No lah, of course. I mean, it takes like a gradual period. Okay, I try to make history fun. See, let me start. Okay, so 1786, if you like, is the beginning. And what happened in 1905? Yeah, 1905. 1905. I give you a clue. Durex.
Huh?
Durex.
Rubber.
Yes. So, so that's so 1905.
Wait, what happened?
Okay, 1905 is the year when actually the world demand for rubber exploded.
Oh.
So, okay, so you get the US. So basically, the rubber industry basically because of the demand. So Malaya is actually one of the big production. So that's why suddenly you have this demand for labor, and it is 1905 is the year where it started, and then okay, you can the immigration started from here, 1786. Started bringing started bringing immigrants in higher number than usual than in the past. In the past, it's up to them macam traders, dia bawa lah sepati dia kan. Yang ni is British really encourage, and also actually not only the British. I think it's quite a myth to say that the British just bring the Chinese dan sebagainya lah. Actually, the local leaders also encourage that because the British offer them macam, okay, they want to develop this area, contohnya, and then they do not have the means, so to speak. And then the British offer them, okay, why not I develop this area and I give you the money that you got. Like macam, okay, 1 month, let's say they don't calculate this in the past. Let's say 1 month, my current income is let's say 5,000. So British say, I'll give you 7,000 per month. You don't have to do anything. Let me do it. So, but I'll give you a fixed salary, pension, so to speak. And then the local leaders agree to that. They encourage the immigrant part. And okay, so 1786 to 1905, basically it started bringing in higher number than usual. But 1905 is the year where it really exploded, at least in the Indian community, because of the rubber industry. And in fact, if you ask I assume if you ask like many Indians, I'm quite sure they know one of their grandparents or parents or one relative that actually has connection to the rubber industry.
In my case, I know both my families' roots have a relationship with the rubber industry. My mother's side, my great-grandfather came from India. Started off as a low laborer, did many different industries, but in the end, when he reached like prominent status in the society, it was because he was one of the managers for a rubber plantation in Klang. Then my father's side, for about like I'm fifth or sixth generation Malaysian, I can't tell for sure, but they came in as laborers for the rubber industry and eventually farmer.
Okay. Okay. Second thing was negotiation, right? Okay. So second thing, tribes demography. Okay. Next. Let's see. Okay. For this part, just okay. The following few slides is statistics, data. You can know a lot of things from data. It's like data don't lie, except your interpretation. Okay. Let's see. Where do I have the year? Okay, I think the previous. Okay, in 1970 is the top one, and this is 2007. So you can see from the top, the Indians make about 10.6% in 1970. Right now they are about 6.93% of the population. 2007. The percentage has been decreasing. I mean, I just want to give you the numbers, like how many Indians are there.